Alright folks, and welcome back to the Don's channel. I am the Donfather, and this is hashtag AFL Chair Chat. Welcome to my Thursday prediction special. This is round 22, 2019 in the AFL ladder. So last 2 weeks before the finals, really heating up now, getting really exciting. First up on Friday night though, it's Melbourne and the Swans. But before I start going through the games, I want to show you a look at the ladder. Going down the ladder. Between 7th and 13th, there's only 8 points, so it's very, very tight. Essendon by no means are in a great position, so they'll be sweating over the next couple of weeks. It can go down to 13th. North Melbourne could mathematically do it, but I don't think they will, so I've not added them in there. They're on 14th. The reason being, too much things would have to go their way for them to be able to do it, so I've not put them in. I've kept it till 13th spot, which is St Kilda. 7th to 13th though, 8 points, 44 points, 36, so it's very, very tight for 7th and 8th spot. Really exciting. I've been led to believe this isn't something that happens very, very often. It's usually nearly decided by now up until 8th spot, so really good year to start watching the sport. Really good stuff. So first up, Friday night at the MCG, 17th place Melbourne Demons versus 15th place Sydney Swans. Both teams have lost the last 5 games straight going into this, so forms on neither team's side. The Demons are in 17th, 2 places behind the Swans, and it is at the MCG, so they've got slight home advantage. I'm going with the Swans. There's not really much talking points I can say about this. I think either team could possibly win on the day, but I think the team that possesses a little bit more quality of the Swans, I think they've been unfortunate. So they've really, really not been able to handle Big Buddy Franklin being out injured. And the results are showing that. A lot of people might say, what are you talking about? There's more than just one player, but he does get them up the field of play. You can put the ball up long to him and he makes marks. He kicks goals that maybe other players wouldn't. So he's a huge loss for the Swans. I mean, I'm under no illusions that they would get into the top 8 this year, but they would have certainly been a little bit more competitive. That much is true. So Swans win Friday night. On to Saturday then, we're at the MCG again for the first game. 16th place Carlton versus 13th place St Kilda. Carlton's form going into this is 3 wins out of 5. They've lost the last 2 weeks, so it's 2 losses and then 3 wins before that. And St Kilda 1 lost, 1 lost. So they've 3 wins. Both of them are 3 wins out of 5. St Kilda will really be putting a push on to try and keep their finals hopes alive. I think they'll really be fired up for the win, but I've got a sneaky feeling Carlton will do it. I don't know why. Of course, St Kilda have got 3 wins out the last 4 weeks, so they've probably got a little bit more form on their side than Carlton. But anytime I write Carlton off in these sorts of games, they produce the goods, so I'm actually going to call it a Carlton win. As I say, really tight game to pick. Most people will probably pick St Kilda on that based on form and their position in the ladder. Neither team really has home advantage at the MCG. They're both very familiar with the ground, so I don't know. It's just a gut feeling I have about Carlton. I think they're going to do it. So on to the next game. This is arguably the biggest game of the weekend. Second place Brisbane Lions versus first placed Geelong Cats. People will say this is the biggest game. I don't actually genuinely think it is. It is the top 2 teams battling it out, but there's another game this weekend that's arguably going to be better and a bigger game. So we'll get to that anyway. Lions are going in with 8 straight wins. Eight wins in a row. So form, they are the informed team in the AFL. They were fantastic last week against the Suns. Easy enough victory, I would say, though. They won 144-53. I didn't expect it to be as big a scoreline. I did expect it to be a big scoreline, but just not quite as big as that. But I wasn't surprised when they did it either. The Cats' form is win, loss, win, loss, win, win. So they've 3 out of 5. It is at the Gabba. They've got home advantage. The crowd are really backing the Lions now at the Gabba, so that's good to see. Their fans are turning up, the ones that maybe wouldn't be there all the time. They do get accused of being bandwagoners, the Lions fans. This is something that I'm hearing a lot of this last few weeks. But it happens at every club. If you get a club that starts to go for a good run, people are going, I'll maybe go to the footy today. It's going to happen in any sport and for any club. When you start to put a run together and people start to believe that it could be done, they start to fill more seats. It's just the way of the world that we live in. So, as I say, it was a tight one to call. The Cats, if you're going by their form, win, loss, win, loss, win, you would have to say it's going to be a loss if you're going to keep it on that. But I don't do things based on that only. I think the Lions are going to do it though. I think they're strong. I think the Cats' form from the bye week has just been all over the place. They've really struggled to get any sort of momentum going together. And I think this week could just be a little bit too much for them. I just think the Lions have got the self-belief about them. They're physical. They're fearless. They've got quality. They've got players that are in form. It's a Lions win for me. So on to the next game then. Another big game, really. We're down in the Adelaide Oval. It's 9th place Crows versus 5th place Pies. The Pies have got 2 wins in a row going into this. The Crows will be determined to leapfrog their close city rivals, Port Adelaide, for that 8th spot again. So they'll be fired up. They're off the back of a loss themselves. Their form going into it is lost, won, lost, won. And the Pies is win, win, lost, win. So Pies have had 1 more win in the last 5 games than the Crows. It was a difficult one to call. I'm going with a Pies away win. I feel that they're going to possess too much. I've watched them the last couple of weeks and I'm actually impressed with some of the stuff they play. Some big names to mention. Treloar, Sidebottom, Grundy. There's a few names there. I think De Goey seems to be their pin-up boy, their poster boy that gets all the credit. But there's so much more to Collingwood, and I feel for them, they've been struck hard by injuries this year. They possibly would have been number 1 on the ladder had they had things going well out with their control, such as injuries and suspension. So they do possess a great squad, but they haven't been able to get that great squad onto the field to play on a Saturday or a Sunday. So that's where I think their seasons kind of went wrong for them. It's not due to not playing well as such. So I'm going to go with an away win anyway for the Pies. On to the next game then, which is North Melbourne, 14th place North Melbourne versus 8th place Power. North's form going into it is lost, won, lost, so 1 win and 5, and the Power are off the back of 2 good victories and then 3 losses before that. They've 2 out of 5. It is at the Marvel Stadium, so you could argue North Melbourne are going to have a little bit of home advantage here. They do play good footy, there's no doubt about that. North play good footy, but I think the Power have now got finals in sights. I really feel that the players should step up to the challenge. I think actually they will step up to the challenge, and I'm going with an away win, and the Power could possibly jump into 7th spot if results go their way. I'm not sure too much about percentages, but certainly points wise they could be tied with Essendon after this week, depending on results elsewhere. But it's all to play for. They could certainly hold on to 8th spot. If the Pies beat Crows and the Power win, they're in a good position going into the final week before the finals. So, Power away win at the Marvel. On to the last game on Saturday then, the Fremantle Dockers versus Essendon Football Club, the Bombers, the Dons. The Dockers have been slowly improving again after such a poor run there for a while. They did lose last week, albeit narrowly. I think it was St Kilda by a few points, wasn't it? 72-69, so they've lost by 3 points, and it really was in the last minute of play, I think, as well. So a sickening blow for them. That could have been a great away win there through in Melbourne, but they never managed to do it. So it was lost, win, lost, won, lost. So 2 out of 5. And Essendon are off the back of 2 straight defeats. And then 3 wins before that. They did actually have 5 wins before that. It's at the up the stadium. We're in Perth. We're out west for this, so the Dockers have that to their advantage. They're in 12th spot. They're still in the hunt for a top 8 themselves. Essendon really, yes, they're in 7th spot, but they really need to get a couple of wins to secure it, because it's not guaranteed. It really isn't guaranteed when you look at the ladder. It is quite tight there. So this win could almost secure them. And they really need it, to be fair. They really need it, because 2 losses, you don't want to add another loss into that. So if they did make the finals off the back of a few losses, it wouldn't be great momentum going into the finals for them either. So you would like to see, if you were an Essendon fan, a good convincing win here. The Dockers will be fired up as well. You know, of course, West Coast Eagles, their closest rival out there at Perth, will automatically be in the finals. There's no stopping them getting in, so they'll want to get there as well. It's not mathematically impossible, as I said. Whether or not it will happen is irrelevant. But my prediction for this week, all things taken into consideration, I think Essendon are going to do it. I think they will bounce back from the 2 previous defeats. They have got that fighting spirit about them. They've went down, even with their 5 wins in a row. It wasn't pretty, but they found ways to win. I think it will be much of the same this week. It's not going to be pretty, but they'll get the result. Sorry to the Dockers fans, because I know you want to believe that you're going to get in there, but I just think Essendon are going to just nick this one this weekend. So on to Sunday then, the 18th. This, for me, is the biggest game, and I'll explain why. I know that Brisbane Lions were playing Geelong, 2nd versus 1st, so everybody go, biggest game. But for me, if you're going by form, the way the 2 teams are playing, Richmond's in 4th, the Eagles are in 3rd. Richmond's won 7 games in a row. I know the Lions had won 8, but Geelong's form wasn't great. That's why I was saying I'm arguing that it's possibly not the biggest game or the best game even over the weekend. Eagles are reigning premiers as well, bearing in mind it's at the MCG. Richmond have been really quite lucky that it's at the MCG, but Eagles have won 4 in a row and lost before that. So 4 wins out of 5 and 7 wins out of 7 for Richmond. So it's a massive game. Both teams play a really lovely style of footy as well. Richmond was probably the best handball game in the ladder. They're throwing up huge comparisons to their 2017 Premiership, where of course they won it, and they're playing a similar footy. There's lots of stats that you can run in that run in comparison with 2017 as well. So really quite interesting to see that. And the Eagles, obviously, they want to become back-to-back premiers as well. So a lot to play for in this game. Both teams are pretty safe in terms of finals, but they'll both want to go in there with go into the finals with great form, and if they could do it with straight wins, then they'll want to do it, won't they? Huge game, yep. I've picked it. A lot of people, it's a hard one to call. A lot of people like the way the Eagles play. They've got a great front line. Richmond are without their captain, which is a huge blow to them. That little bit of leadership that they'll need on the field to play, when maybe it might come into a bit of an arm wrestle at times this game. Who knows? But if Richmond can impose their style of footy on anyone, I believe they can beat them. If they can play their handball game and do it early and put the set shots up and onto the scoreboard and score goals from open play as well, from some of the great build-up play in terms of the way they play their handball game, then I think it's theirs to win or lose. I'm going for a Richmond home win at the MCG. I've got a gut feeling about them. I think they're just going to keep grinding out results, even when they're not necessarily playing their best footy. I just think momentum is well and truly on their side. As the Eagles, they've got 4 straight wins. They're having to travel as well to Melbourne. They have to travel an awful lot, the Eagles. It doesn't seem to be a problem for them. I just think Richmond will do it. Richmond win. Another big enough game, and this one is where I'm going to be slightly braver in my predictions. 6th place Giants versus 10th place Bulldogs. It is at the Giants Stadium as well, so they've got home advantage. Their form going into the Giants is lost, won, lost, and the Bulldogs won, lost, 1. So 3 out of 5 for both teams. The Giants' main talking point last week on Friday night at the UNSW Canberra Oval was the snow. First time in AFL history, I think, that there was ever snow at a footy game. And the cameramen and the crowd were getting really excited by this. The noise coming from the crowd with the snow was absolutely brilliant, really entertaining. For me that sees snow quite regular where we live, our winters are very, very long, so snow's a very, very common thing. But to see the reaction of people who don't see snow very often was quite exciting for me as well. I got a good chuckle to myself about that. So that was entertaining in its own right. But the huge talking point should be the footy after all, and it was the Hawks absolutely smashed the Giants last week. Giants only managed to score 29 points to the Hawks 85, so they're off the back of a huge defeat really. And the Bulldogs are off the back of a massive win, probably the biggest win of the weekend in terms of the opposition. I know it was the Lions Suns, but when you look at, well, actually it was the biggest victory. Now I look at 104 points. Yes, actually, it was the biggest victory over the weekend as well, mathematically. They won 137-33, so they won 104 against Essendon. I'm going for a Bulldogs away win here. I've got a feeling about them. They're in the fight for top 8 as well. They'd done it in 2016, where out of nowhere they managed to get themselves into the top 8. I never seen it, of course. It's just stuff I've read through the comments section and I've seen through highlights, etc. But they've got a lot of players that are starting to step up and produce the goods for them now. And I've just got a feeling the Bulldogs are going to do it. They fight for, even when they lose, they go down fighting. And when they win, they fight for the win. And last week, the quality they possessed was absolutely amazing to watch. Really enjoyed the Bulldogs last week. Bulldogs win. So on to the last game. It's a predictable winner. The question is, how much are they going to win by? Don't think it'll be as big of a margin as what Brisbane Lions managed to put up there, but it'll certainly be over a century. It's the 11th place Hawks who are in contention for 8th spot, and the Gold Coast Suns who are obviously rock bottom with 16 straight losses, which is a record. Hawks going into this is at the Marvel Stadium. Won, lost, 1-1, so they're 3 out of 5. And the Suns are just going through the motions now, I believe. They've gave it up. All the heads are down. I wouldn't say they don't care, but they've just gave up. They've mentally gave up. And I can't blame them. 16 straight defeats. It's embarrassing to be playing in a team where that's happening. Feel sorry for them in a way, because there was moments there they actually did certain things right last week against the Lions in the first quarter or so. They were doing things, but they just lack that final killer pass. They just lack, it's just that one last thing you always feel with the Suns when they're building up for a goal. They just lack little things. It's little percentages that are letting them down. But the other teams are just too good for them. Hawks win anyway. The scoreline will probably be over 100 odd to maybe 50, 60. Same as last week, but maybe not just as convincing. So a Hawks win. So I'm going to go now through all of them again, just quickly to say my winners. Here it is. Swans, Carlton, the Lions, the Pies, Power, Essendon, Richmond, Bulldogs, and the Hawks. That's my winners for the weekend. Let me know in the comments section what you think about my predictions this week. Do you disagree with any of them, or is there any things that you think I should have took into consideration when I was doing my predictions? Let me know. It's all good stuff anyway, and let me know your predictions as well. That'll be good to read. See if they're similar to mine or not. Just before we go, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the merchandise that's rolling out soon. I thought I would have had images on Wednesday, but the boy that's embroidering them is only getting round to doing it today, so maybe have more over this evening here. It'll be tomorrow for yous in Australia. In terms of merchandise, I'm going to be able to show you images of some baseball caps we've got done, adjustable ones and flex fit ones we should have images of. I'll be able to do a video of on them, and a couple of hoodies that have been ordered as well. So if you want hoodies, you can get hoodies in your colour. If you want hats, you can get them in your colour and style and size. With the Don's Channel logo, the TDC logo on them as well. So more on that to follow. Do check us out on our social media platforms. In the description section below, you'll be able to click into those links. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and also ways in which you can help fund and support the channel, such as Patreon. You could become a patron of the channel, which is vital to help the channel grow and fulfill our dreams of coming to Australia. You can become a patron. There's bronze, silver and gold packages there available. Gold, well, you receive a gift from the channel with the gold package. So let me know if you're interested in that. And also sponsoring the AFL mullet. I'm doing the AFL mullet for sponsorships. I'm growing it. Lots of players in the AFL are growing the mullet. So I'm keeping the trend going and growing the mullet on the channel as well. So if you want to do that, you can go fund us on that or sponsor the mullet directly on our Just Giving page. That would be fantastic. Thanks very much for your continued support anyway. It's greatly appreciated, and have a great weekend and enjoy the footy. Hopefully your team wins, whoever you support. Thanks very much. I am the Donfather. Peace everyone.